Hello and welcome to AE 2220 Dynamics. This is Professor Keen Moore speaking, and in this video we are going to go through the syllabus for this course. So just a bit about me. I am an associate professor in aerospace engineering here at Georgia Tech. I am actually relatively new to Georgia Tech. I joined in August of last year. Before coming here, I was an assistant professor at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln in mechanical engineering. And as a result, this will be the first time that I am teaching this class here at Georgia Tech. In general, first time I'm teaching at Georgia Tech as well. So I'm very excited to work with you all on this and have a look forward to a good spring semester. So my office is located in 421 Montgomery Knight, 421A specifically. This is where I'll have office hours, and if you ever need to come meet with me outside of office hours, that's where we would have those, or through Teams. In general, the best way to reach me is through Teams. I do include my email here, but best way to reach me is through Teams. So send me a message either on your group channels or directly. So the best way is to message me through Teams. My office hours are going to be primarily through Teams, but also on Tuesdays 2:30 to 3:30 p.m. and Fridays 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. again located in my office. The teaching assistant or TA for the class is Lishan Ma. I've included his email here. He'll be available through Teams as well as on Mondays 5 to 6 p.m. and Thursdays 9 to 10 a.m. The location is still being determined because his office is in Coda, so those might become virtual office hours if we cannot find a suitable location. Lectures are 8 to 9:15 a.m. Monday and Wednesday in Skiles 202. I look forward to meeting all of you on January 13th, since we won't have class for the first week, as you should see in the announcement. And the recitation is 6:30 to 7:45 p.m. on Monday. As of the recording this video, they have not determined the location, so I'll update this once I find it. The required textbook for this class is by McGill and King. It's called Engineering Mechanics and an Introduction to Dynamics, the 4th edition. I include here the catalog description of the class, as well as the learning objectives. So by the end of the class, you will be able to do these. This is what I expect you to be able to do by the end of the course, and it covers all of the different topics that we'll be dealing with. The course grade, we're going to use a standard grading scale, so greater than 90 will be an A, 80 to 89 will be a B, 79 to 70, between that will be a C, 69 to 60 is a D, and less than a 59 is an F in the class. And I'm going to round the final grades up to the nearest whole number, so if you have an 89.1, you're going to get a 90 ultimately. We'll round up to the nearest whole number, regardless of what that decimal place is. The grade breakdown is going to be broken between homework, worksheets, recitation, and 3 exams, 2 midterms, and a final. Homework is pretty straightforward and standard. The worksheets are things that you'll be doing in groups during class, or teams as I like to call them. You'll be working on these worksheets throughout class in some classes, and we'll talk more about that in a moment. During recitation, we're going to be using that to solve example problems, and you'll be expected to turn in some of those for credit. I'll talk about that in a moment, as well as the exams. So I'm not going to take attendance, but I expect you to come to every class as well as every recitation session, and your participation in class and your coming to class is part of the grade in the class, but I'm not going to explicitly take attendance. So that being said, if you do need to miss a class, please reach out and let me know ahead of schedule, especially if we are doing a worksheet or some type of exam or something. Let me know and we'll work something out. So in this class, we're going to emphasize cooperative learning, and that means that teamwork will be required throughout the semester as a way to develop communication and just interpersonal skills. Teams are going to be 3 to 4 people. In this class, as of the recording of this video, we have enough people such that we will only have teams of 4. Depending on if additional people enroll or if anybody drops the class, that could change. As of right now, this recording, which is on Friday morning, January 3rd, as of this recording, we have enough to have a whole number of teams with 4 members. So we're going to form teams using CATME. This is a research-based tool that basically takes into account your availability based on your schedule you give it, when you want to work on things, your leadership style preferences, and other factors into account and then builds optimal teams based on evidence-based research. Once a team is formed, I'm going to ask you to come up with a unique name. There will be some rules and regulations for that. This will probably be part of your first homework assignment. And I'll post more details at the time. Teams will be formed after January 10th, so there is some time. You should have gotten an email from CATME. Please go and do that survey. You're going to get your own channel on the course Microsoft Teams, and you're going to use that for discussion, coordination, homework, etc. It would be an excellent way for you to reach out to me or the TA to ask questions. If you're unhappy with your team, you are allowed to quit. In that case, you must, this involves discussion and petition with me. But if you do decide to quit, you are allowed to do that. And then you're able to link up with another team or work on your own, depending on the circumstances. Alternatively, if a group decides that somebody is not participating and not performing well in their group, the group has the option to fire that member, and if that person is fired, then they're either going to work alone or they're going to have to join another team. And again, firing a member requires a petition and discussion with me involved. I've never had either of these happen, but the rules exist in case we need to enforce them. And your teams will be evaluated on the way you work together. I mentioned worksheets. That's one way we're going to evaluate your teams. And and at the end of the semester, we're going to evaluate how you performed in the best teams. And depending on how well you did well, you're going to get up to bonus points up to 5% of the classwork grade. Okay, so let's talk about homework. So we're going to distribute homework through Canvas, and we do on a specific date. The way we'll do due dates is that you'll have a 24-hour period to turn in the assignment, and after that 24 hours, you will not be able to submit such that it's a hard deadline. What this means is that if the assignment were due on Wednesday, it would be due 11:59 p.m. on Wednesday, and you would have until Thursday 11:59 p.m. to turn it in, after which it closes and there is no more submission. Then the solutions will become available the next day is our goal. So Friday at like 8 a.m., let's say, at the start of class. So for each assignment, I want you to include a cover page with a paragraph summarizing the contributions of each team member and the approach that you used to solve the assignment or complete it, whether that was a divide and conquer or each person attempts each problem before meeting as a team, whatever you use, I want you to document this. And this documentation is a way that we're going to help evaluate your teams towards the end of the semester, and we'll give you an opportunity to evaluate your own teams as well. I will say that the best way to learn in this class is for each person to attempt each problem before meeting as a team and then working on them together, so that you've tried the problem, you may not have solved it, but you've tried and made some progress, and then you can meet with your team and discuss and learn together. That is the best way to learn in this class. And the students who do this will do the best. And this, I'm saying this, but I have historic evidence from past classes that demonstrates that this is true. I want to see symbolic solutions and then substitute numerical values in it for credit. We want to see all details, not just an answer. You need to include all of your work as well. We'll talk about worksheets briefly. So in class, I'm going to solve example problems. And some of the example problems you'll be doing in your teams, the teams that you're assigned to do homework, you'll be working on those together, and you're encouraged to do an intense discussion. These worksheets allow you to engage with your peers and work to solve a problem and learn together. That being said, the worksheets are not you probably won't finish most of them, and they're not designed to be finished. They're designed to challenge you and push you as a group. That being said, you won't be graded based on completion. You're going to be graded based on how you work together, and that means that one person should not be rushing ahead to finish it, but you should be advancing as a team, making sure that everybody is learning and understanding what you're doing as you go. That being said, if you do not attend class and you do not reach out and tell me and inform me why, then you're not going to receive credit for when we do these worksheets, and you'll simply just get a 0 for that one. If you do reach out to me, then we'll work something out. Now, the recitation sessions are going to be used for additional example problems that we're going to be solved by either by the TA specifically in this class and by you. So we'll look at, the TA will solve maybe 2 to 3 examples, and then a third or a fourth one will be solved by you, and you'll upload a scan of that to Canvas, and then that will give you a grade based on that, primarily focused on participation and attendance and making sure that you're there. Like I said, the grade is based on your effort and participation, not whether or not you completed or get the example correct. That being said, if you don't attend the recitation session, you're just simply not going to get credit for that assignment. So exams have been scheduled. The first midterm will be on February 19th, 8 to 9:15 a.m. The second midterm is on April 2nd, 8 to 9:15 a.m. And then the final exam is April 30th from 8 to 10:50 a.m. For each exam, you're allowed to have one sheet of 8.5 by 11 worth of notes. That's front and back allowed, plus any sheets that you used in previous exams. So for midterm 1, you're allowed one 2-page sheet. For midterm 2, you're allowed the notes from midterm 1 plus a new 2-page sheet. And then for the final exam, you're allowed 3 2-page sheets, and you would obviously want to use the 2 pages from midterm 1 and the 2 pages from midterm 2, and then a new 3rd page. Calculators allowed, but no other books, papers, computers, cell phones, etc. are allowed, other than anything that I say you're allowed to use during an exam. During the exam, you're going to take your phone out and you're going to place it face down on the desk in front of you, and you will not be allowed to access it while you're working on the exam. Once you turn the exam in, then you can access it. But any use of it during the exam will be considered cheating and will result in a 0 for the exam and potentially a 0 and F in the course. If there are any questions about the grading or the scoring of an exam or any assignment in the class, you have 1 week to come and talk to me or talk to the TA about that grading and get some information about that. After 1 week, we will not entertain any discussion about a grade, and we will not make any changes to grades. I list here the academic honesty policy of the class, classroom conduct and expectations, and then any ADA and accommodations. If you have any accommodations, please let me know as soon as possible, and we'll absolutely work with you on those accommodations. Include 2 references for you if you want to look for other books that go through this content that we'll cover in this class. And then I want to just briefly talk about the outline for the class. The most important thing is that the first week we'll have no in-person class because I'll be traveling. So there will be pre-recorded lectures available on Canvas. These are all hosted on YouTube as part of a playlist, so you'll be able to access them relatively easily. There will be videos for both of these lecture days, and there will be no recitation during the first week. The second week we will start the recitation, and we'll start in-person class, and we'll also start the worksheets as well. And then again in February 10 and 12 we will have no in-person class, and I'll be recording lectures for you during that time, just like I did for the first week. With that, I'd like to say thank you for listening, and I'm looking forward to a very exciting spring semester.